Well, you see the title of this video, you know what I'm gonna do today. I figure if I'm going to talk about 4chan though, I should change up what I look like a little bit, so... This is me now. Before I get into the rest of the video, I'd just like to thank Pasteloween, the artist who did my new character stills. She has some pretty great art, which I'll show here, and she has a Twitter and a DeviantArt page that you can check out in the description, linked right under the little note at the top. So, yeah, she's pretty talented, and I think she deserves a lot more attention. And her drawing abilities are certainly much better than mine, so, thanks to her. Alright, onto the video. One of the more controversial websites over the course of the internet's history, and especially over the past decade, has been 4chan. One of the websites that I visit, or rather used to visit most often in my free time whilst dwelling in the dark corners of the web like Kiwi Farms, but Kiwi's a story for another day. According to Google, 4chan is a English language image board website. Users generally post anonymously, with the most recent posts appearing above the rest. 4chan is split into various boards, with their own specific content and guidelines. Registration is not possible. Well then, with that very detailed description, let's be on our way. Time to fucking... What? I'm not going to read off of Encyclopedia Dramatica, like, behind the meme. No, that's not what we do here. This bit was never funny, let's just get on with the video. 4chan is an image board sharing website, similar to others like Reddit in the way that it is organized into various subs, or in this case, boards, with the only major difference between it and its contemporaries being that it is completely anonymous. There is no registration process, no sign up, no nothing. Each post just gets an anonymous ID attached to it, and after that, poof, nothing there. And with the anonymous nature of the internet already promoting the posting and creation of all sorts of weird shit, and that's with accounts, needless to say, when there's no way of tracing the image back to you personally and CNN can't find your identity and threaten to blackmail you via your account because on 4chan there are no accounts, they get up to all sorts of weird antics, and the site has become somewhat infamous for these reasons. Now, on the surface, I actually do like 4chan. It's very appealing to me. I like the weird and twisted sense of humor that many of the members on the site have. I like a lot of the edgy or somewhat controversial comedic styles displayed in a lot of their posts and rhetoric, and I also like a lot of the memes that have come from it. And there are a few good green text posts. I really appreciate the attitude towards everything being worthless on the site. Do I agree with it? No, but I find it entertaining nonetheless. And I suppose in the end, this video isn't going to be like the rest of the videos on my channel. I visit a lot of websites on the internet every single day, and really, to me at least, 4chan doesn't really have anything inherently wrong with it. Does that make this video clickbait? I guess, but honestly, who cares? I know I don't. I suppose this video will be more of a praise and analysis of 4chan, so if you're looking for me to just shit all over your least favorite boards because some of their edgy humor is racist or something like that, then this isn't the video for you. Just click off now. I don't want to keep you here in the hopes that you will get something that you're just not going to. Instead, this will be sort of a defense of 4chan, really, and an in-depth look at the culture that exists there and why I like it. But before I do that, I'd like to address some of the arguments that people use when talking about 4chan and describing why they themselves hate it. Argument number one. One thing that I tend to hear from time to time is that 4chan is bad because while it used to be comprised of just people who are just joking around and their edgy humor came from a sense of irony, people say that it is now full of actual racists, and people seem to think that boards like Poll are gathering places for the alt-right and Nazis. And while I agree there are probably some real racists in there, people who want to reinstate slavery, neo-punk boys and whatnot, how can you really know that? There's no way of looking through the computer screen to figure out who's behind it. There's no account history really or anything like that, so how can you surmise that 4chan used to be comprised of people pretending to be vile bigots and now it's full of actual vile bigots? How can you really know that? Exactly, you can't. Argument number two. Something I often hear from people who aren't quite accustomed to all of the goings-on of the internet underbelly is that 4chan, or rather, edgy humor, is distasteful and should not be allowed. I don't really feel the need to go into why this is wrong, as it encourages censorship and silencing those of a different perspective, opinion, or social stance, which is basically racism or sexism, but it's devoid of race or sex. It's just, I don't like your sense of humor, therefore you are bad. Pretty retarded if you ask me. Argument number three. Raids are bad. A lot of people have issues with the behavior of specific boards, particularly Poll and B, with their internet history laden with raiding sites like Habbo, playing pranks on stores, calling into Christian radio shows, and harassing stupid prepubescent girls.
Out of here, and this is to all you fucking haters, okay? Guess what? You guys are bitches. You know what? You don't faze me. I'm just doing this just so you can tell. I read the comments, I read the messages, I reply to them, but You know what? I don't give a fuck.
And while I can agree some of that behavior is obnoxious, at the end of the day it's all just a harmless joke really, and nobody gets hurt. In many cases, certain boards on 4chan have actually done some good, due to their stunning investigative prowess, whether or not it's derived from a place of good or foolishness. They caught the bike lock wielding Antifa dickhead who hit someone in the head at a Berkeley rally, getting him sent to prison. And apart from good deeds like that, you have to admit the stuff with Shia is pretty damn funny. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then I'll link a series by Internet Historian about the subject in the description. I would highly recommend checking it out. You see, you have to look at 4chan as a bigger picture. While there is a lot of depraved and gross shit on the site, there's also just a lot of normal shit, like people talking about video games or movies or anime. In fact, anime is actually a large part of the website's culture, and boards like B, Poll, and all of the other offensive and not safe for work ones like Yaoi, but all of those are just subtopics really, and you can't generalize the entire site. Communities are made up of individuals, and while a few boards may be the most infamous, you can't really ascribe the weird activity to all 22 million monthly users of the site. And it's not like all of the users are fat neckbeards as some would expect, including me. I would expect that. According to 4chan's own advertising page, the average 4chan user is between the ages of 18 to 34, and most of them attended or are currently attending college, with another similarity being their interest in video games and anime. Not exactly neckbeards, are they? They're just average contributing members of society who sit down at the end of the day to enjoy some talk about anime or make fun of stupid people. Really just what the rest of us do on a daily basis. Granted, I don't talk about anime because I don't watch it, and they do it on a website that is less strict about policing content and doesn't censor its users, which is part of the reason why I love the site so much. If anything, I can't help but feel bad for 4chan. They have been constantly misrepresented by the mainstream media for the past few years, from CNN calling 4chan a hacker or something,
do we even know who is this 4chan,
to the bastardization of Pepe the Frog, and the constant association of the media between the harmless meme and Nazis, the KKK, white supremacy, and the alt-right, and eventually classifying him as a hate symbol. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. It's honestly tragic how a few bad and somewhat tasteless Pepe memes led to it becoming a liberal, or rather, mainstream white normie liberal, symbol associated with racism. And yes, I'm aware of the stigma that comes along with using the word normie, but honestly, I don't really care. Moving on, if you walk away from this entire video with anything, even if you come away hating 4chan, I think there's one thing that you should keep in mind. You can't beat 4chan. While there are many instances I could talk about where 4chan has managed to thwart its enemies, and even more when it has just fucked with people due to their amusing nature or odd characteristics, what I would like to talk about today is Behind the Meme. Just a few years ago, Behind the Meme was a premiere, or rather, shit meme channel on YouTube. However, despite the somewhat questionable quality of his content, he was gaining hundreds of thousands of subscribers every week, and as a result, thousands of dollars in ad revenue every month. He was doing pretty well for himself, and managed to accumulate nearly 800,000 subscribers, which is pretty impressive when you look at the sheer metrics. However, when you look at the actual content...
Hello, Internet, and welcome to Behind the Meme, where we take a look at the meaning and the origin of your favorite memes. When I first saw all the requests for the dab in my comment sections, I was a bit confused because I didn't think the dab would be considered a meme.
And for a good while, everything was fine, but soon the hardcore meme community caught wind of this, and they weren't having it. Some of the first criticisms thrown towards Behind the Meme was by Melon Man Anthony Fantano, in a taunting parody he made of Behind the Meme's content. And how did he respond? Did he have a thoughtful and well-measured response, justifying his own content? No, instead he had his fucking mom sit in front of a camera. This was mistake number one. Soon, enough of the community was up in arms about it, dislike bombing his videos and memeing the fuck out of his content, reducing his image to nothing but a joke. Soon, Emplemon would release his video about the topic, which accumulated over 1 million views and absolutely ass-raped Behind the Meme. After some more criticism from channels like Pyrocynical, things seemed to be dying down a bit. The dislikes were slowly becoming less and less prominent, and hate subsided, and things were cooling down. But behind the scenes, 4chan was conspiring to take down Behind the Meme. A thread was created dedicated to discussing tactics to fuck with him, and eventually they decided that they could create a fake meme just to see how gullible BTM was, and try to get him to make a video about it. An interesting idea, of course, but what did BTM do? Did he ignore them? No, of course not. Instead, he made an entire fucking video dedicated to a thread that not even 1,000 people had seen, on a channel with 500,000 fucking subscribers. Naturally, this did not sit well with Poll. So what did they do? Well, from then on, they made sure to dislike bomb his channel, they spread his memes even farther, and they doxed him and his grandma. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that it doesn't take much to provoke them, and if you do, the best way to deal with it is to just try and lay low for a bit. Don't interact with 4chan users, and don't don't mention them at all. If they get no reaction, they have no reason to pursue their online endeavors. Most people seem to forget this or not even realize it, but really, if you are suffering a 4chan raid or harassment campaign, or a raid of any kind really, it doesn't have to be from 4chan, anything along those lines, the best way to deal with it is to just do nothing. It's really that simple. But Turkey Tom, they're being mean to me. I can take them, trust me. 4chan's just a bunch of pussies. They ain't got shit on me, you fucking asshole. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. I'm fucking tough. I can take 4chan. Just because you're a pussy doesn't mean that I'm stupid, you soy boy. Stop. Just trust me on this one. You cannot beat 4chan. You just can't. They always win. And I think one of the reasons why I enjoy 4chan more is because on websites like Reddit, the conversation is more of a circle jerk. Everyone is always posting the most popular opinion in order to gain relevancy, or in this case, more upvotes and karma. And if you post something unpopular, then it gets downvoted to hell, and conversation and promotion of that conversation is halted. To further talk about this topic and get his opinion on it, I also have a special guest for this episode. YouTube edgelord connoisseur, Mumkey Jones. Take it away, Mumkey.
What I really like about 4chan in particular, especially over Reddit, is that the conversation is not democratized like Reddit is. The average Reddit user is only going to ever read the popular opinion because they always get upvoted by the community to the top of any given discussion thread. But on 4chan, all posts are treated equally. They're in the order of when they arrive, and I think due to that you get a wider variety of opinions, and usually a lot more unpopular opinions, angrier opinions, and you really get, in my experience, honestly, better conversation in a 4chan post than on Reddit, because it really is like an active argument, whereas on Reddit, if somebody has a dissenting opinion, they'll get downvoted to death, and you might never even see it. And also, frankly, 4chan just has the funnier memes, so it's more fun to browse while taking a shit than Reddit ever will be.
If you haven't already heard of Mumkey's channel, then be sure to click the link in the description to see some of his content. It's top-notch stuff, and I would highly recommend checking it out. In a similar way to Kiwi Farms, Encyclopedia Dramatica, or something awful, I guess, you can pretty much say whatever you want as long as you aren't breaking the law, and in essence, it makes 4chan an embodiment of what makes the internet great. It's a wild west of sorts, a place where you can find any information you want, share any information you want, and do whatever you want really within the confines of the online world. Are there some negative consequences that come with that? Maybe, but it's the price of freedom, and it's one that I'm willing to pay, or rather, accept with open arms. I have a feeling 4chan isn't going to like this video. Some of their users have somewhat spotty taste, and they can be unpredictable, so hopefully I don't get doxxed or anything. But if I do, then, you know, the perpetrator, I guess. I know this video was a little different from normal, but I didn't really know what to title it, and despite how I've become more of a defender of 4chan than a critic of it, it still fits into the Problems With series, and I think it's a nice change of pace compared to my other recent stuff. As always, all thoughts and criticism are appreciated. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
What you say is love is pain.